Washington is a game up on the Giants, on my beloved Big Blue New York Football Giants. They're a game up. The Giants get the Cowboys last game of the season. The Giants have to go 2-1, and Washington has to go 1-2 for the Giants to win the division because they've swept the season series. They have the tiebreaker, beat Washington twice. Who, by the way, you know what Washington did to the Cowboys this year? 2-0, a combined score of 66-19. They beat the brakes off the Cowboys. But the Giants have won both games against Washington. Now, the FPI chances to win for the New York Football Giants up on ESPN Plus right now, 47% chance to beat the Browns at Giant Stadium, right? But on the road, only a 22% chance to beat the Ravens and a 65% chance at home to beat the Cowboys, 65% chance last week of the season. I think the Giants have a good shot to beat these Browns. They got a good shot. I agree with FPI, a lesser chance to beat the Ravens, but I'm going to pick the Giants to beat the Browns. And I think a lot of what we saw from Daniel Jones this last week was his hamstring wasn't better. And if you take a mobile quarterback, like if Lamar couldn't have run last night, they'd have lost, right? Even when he came back into the game and was completing passes, his legs helped him escape pressure. Daniel Jones, he's not Lamar Jackson, but he's a fast dude, and he was a stationary target. If he's not a stationary target against the Browns, I think the Giants' defense can get that done. Meantime, the question is, should they even play Daniel Jones if he's not healthy? Or could Colt McCoy win? Well, I mean, Colt McCoy beat the Seahawks. The defense did that, sure, but Colt McCoy was the quarterback, beat the Seahawks. I'd rather have a healthy Colt McCoy than a Daniel Jones who can't move. Went 11 for 21 with 127 yards, Daniel Jones, and he fumbled 3 times, and that's the real issue with him, like ball control, right? Coach Joe Judge said after the game that the Giants knew that Jones was in no condition to run. Guys, come on. If Daniel Jones can't run, he can't play. He's not good enough from the pocket, certainly not yet. And he has ball security issues. He can't play. But Coach Joe Judge, I have no regrets about playing him. We've made a calculation based on what we thought he could do as a player, but they thought wrong. This Sunday, they thought wrong. Can they beat the Browns that you just saw against the Ravens? I'll remind you, the Browns came back on the Ravens, down 2 touchdowns, with Lamar out of the game, right, with a backup quarterback. Now, Colt McCoy's a backup quarterback. As backup quarterbacks go, solid average. I think that's what the Giants are dealing with. They get average-ish quarterback play from their starter, average for a starter. If you lined up all the quarterbacks in the NFL, he'd be in the middle of the pack somewhere, maybe low middle. And Colt McCoy, same thing, average backup quarterback play. Is that enough with this defense? I think so. The Giants' defense, when they can't stay on the field all game, but when the offense can do a little something, that defense, if it ain't elite, it's trending that way. Yeah, I think they could beat the Browns, particularly the emotional letdown of not only losing to Baltimore, but even if they felt like they had a moral victory. No moral victories in the NFL. Oh, I don't know. Like, even if they felt it's a moral victory the way they played Baltimore, there's an emotional letdown playing the Giants the following week. You're on the road against a team who's coming off a bad loss, and I just don't think you're going to be as up for that game as they were for the Ravens. I think the Giants have a good chance to win even with Colt McCoy. Ravens, I'm less optimistic about. And then the Cowboys last week of the season. Meantime, when you look at Washington, they get the Eagles last week of the season. So you're like, okay, that's a win. Not so fast. Not so fast. The Eagles with Jalen Hurts versus Washington? I don't know. They just beat the best defense in the NFL. They just beat the Saints. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.